Okay, Mr. Mosby? Uh-huh. Oh, I can hear myself, Mr. Mosby? Forgot to mute myself, Mr. Mosby? Alright. I mean, I guess we could, go a little like this. Okay. Okay. So now.
Wrong, I don't believe that there is an objective right or wrong. Just like I don't think there's an objective.
Fuck. Actually, I think that's fine, actually.
Beautiful or an objective best song or an objective anything like that. Yeah.
So like I would say it's evil to rape someone. It is wrong to do that, and it is a fact that no one should ever do that. Full stop.
There's other concerns with artificial wounds, like people actually it wouldn't be used strictly in situations where perhaps a woman wanted to have an abortion, or perhaps a woman couldn't have a healthy pregnancy
I think if I would be very worried about
like farming humans.
If Destiny's used correct, and you cannot harm a fetus before 20 weeks, there's nothing stopping you from using IVF embryos, abandoned embryos. There's thousands of abandoned embryos in cryotanks. You could just put them into these artificial wombs, do something to their brains so they never become conscious.
Sure.
And you've got organ harvesting, you've got sex dolls, or even just making them just unconscious. Use them as cadavers for med students to work with. I think many people would find that to be really, really awful and counterintuitive, that we ought not treat those human beings that way. And if they are persons, only care for disabled people if we think their lives are worth a dangerous road to go down.
No, it's not. We do studies. People with autism generally report decent quality of life. Like we do empirical analysis, people who do studies, case studies, for longitudinal studies. People tend to adjust to their level and have like decent quality of life. Some people do want to die, right? And if you want to die, you try that option. But there's a difference between wanting to die versus wanting to kill everybody.
But do we do this? Some people who want to die, we say that's not a good enough reason. I know your girlfriend left you, but that's not a good enough reason. Oh, you have bone cancer or something like that, or even you're locked in. And you don't want to live. Fine. We make.
All right, let's look up this dude, Martin. What's your story, dude? Hello?
It still affects me. Sorry.
Live, Martin Pistorius says he spent 9 years trapped inside his own body, aware of everything going on around him, but powerless to communicate to anyone. NBC national correspondent Kate Snow spoke with Martin for his first American television interview. Kate, it's an incredible story. Good morning.
It really is. Good morning to you, Matt. Martin Pistorius' book, Ghost Boy, is on the New York Times bestseller list right now. It was fascinating to meet him. He grew up in South Africa. He lives in England now, a kind-hearted person with an amazingly positive outlook on life. And when you know what he's been through, that's even more incredible. It still affects me. Sorry.
It's hard for Joan Pistorius to talk about what happened to her beautiful baby boy. When Martin was 12, she says he was sent home early from school thinking he had the flu. He never went back. His body weakened. He spent the next year in and out of hospitals.
The last thing that he
That says 12 years.
was when home.
As in, when am I going home? And when doctors finally said he could,
We got told to take him home and take care of him until he died.
Okay.
A vivacious young boy, full of life, full of energy, full of hope. Stricken by a mystery neurological illness that robs him of his mind. At just 12 years of age, Martin Pistorius is in a virtual coma, and doctors expect he will stay that way for the rest... Then, 4 years later, Martin's mind steadily awake for the rest of his life. Coma, and doctors... Just 12 years of age, Martin Pistorius is in a virtual coma.
So what's a virtual coma? Is there a high level of confidence in the doctor's ability to determine whether a coma patient is conscious or not? There is significant uncertainty and a lack of confidence in a doctor's ability to determine whether an absolute actually coma patient is conscious or not. Determine available data. Studies have shown that a substantial number of patients with disorders or conscious are misdiagnosed. For example, 43 patients with a diagnosis of vegetative state may actually be in a minimally conscious state or have some level of awareness. That's interesting. I'd want to take a note of that. So I'd probably want to say like conversation specific people's arguments. I mean, facts. So like conclude that, what was it, 40, that 15 to 40% of people diagnosed with VS actually do not have VS, or is some level of awareness incompatible with VS. Damn. So this would be people in comas often get misdiagnosed. So this one found 34%. Alright, we need to like zoom in here. It's kind of hard to see, bruh. Alright, come on. Like, fuck. Come on, baby. So essentially VS, a vegetative state. No consciousness. Simply define a vegetative state. Give us something like this. Yeah, like. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Yes. Sir, we're here, ready to cheer. Holiday, Christmas, got us all jolly. Man, I heard my dad screaming no golly, cause he dropped the candy on the sofa and the chocolate got all sticky. Mama said, what the fuck is sticky? Looking like a little black chocolate bar melted down underneath the sofa cushions. And I was like, listen, it was Pops. He was like, damn, how the fuck he drops the candy. I was like, man was drinking brandy, and then he got drunk and he threw it on the floor on the couch. He did both, cause that's what he do. And I was like, damn, also got it on his shoe. And damn, he was like, damn, it's black and white like a cow that go moo with the milk. Man, dropped the chocolate so smooth like it's silk. Oh fuck, going through the mouth. What am I doing? I just want to know what a vegetative state is. Vegetative state, also known as unresponsible, weakness, or post-coma responsible. I just want to see you say that it just means there's no consciousness. I say this. That's quite interesting, Mr. Atlanta. Now I'm about to drink some more Fanta, cause I like it orange, but I like it, what the fuck? Rhyming with orange, I don't know. Sound the alarms. Boy, I'm bringing arms. Man, I'm bringing stock from the farms. Man, I got them crops in the back of my pickup truck. Damn, it's hard to, what kind of beat is this? It's the Christmas beat. What if I actually turn on the Christmas beat though? If I actually turn on the Christmas beat. Shit. Yeah. Hold up. Yes. Okay, okay. Man, chilling on my desk. Researching some abortion, it's the test. Trying to get away them old past 20 weeks. That's where I draw the line. After that, it's a fine. Spank 'em in the behind. Get 'em going, time to grind. Straight out the womb, man, it's coming real soon. Drinking lean, singing to the tune. Here we go, shoot 'em out that pussy like it's harpoon. Shoot 'em like a shark in the dark. Throwing darts, man, we get that bullseye. Out the womb, hear that baby never stop cry. Even Pop said, oh my, cause he saw mama screaming and she shit her pants. Pops couldn't go away, he need to get a glance. Gramps in the back, what's that stance? Boy was like, oh my goodness golly. Even grandma was like, damn, just like me, she getting jolly. Mama so happy, I need a nappy, cause I'm so exhausted from the sequence of events. Grandma thinking about the past. Mama didn't think to ask. Pops drunk off his flask, flowing in the air like mass. Oh my god, beat the bass, bass in the fish, bash in the bass in the ocean. Here we go, I'm smooth, smooth like it's lotion. Here we go, I move, moving through the wind. Man, I'm harder than the tens. Man, I'm harder than a rinse. When you got that old sticky food in the sink, trying to get it off after. I wanted to rhyme with bling, but I couldn't think of not one thing in my brain. Then I tried to say blink and I couldn't come up with another word. And then I thought think, but I don't know how to rhyme with that. So I'm moving on to a whole new word. Here we go, it's gonna be something nice. So I'm about to eat some more chicken with a side of rice. I feel like that was honestly not a. That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad, right? I feel like that wasn't bad. Come on. It wasn't bad. We do need some Christmas days, though.
I think there must be something wrong with me, Linus. Christmas is coming, but I'm not happy.
Judgments there about you're giving me a good reason.
What am I doing? I'm getting so distracted. All right. So this study. Yo, here we go, man, chilling. Damn, looking at the ceiling like I got my cape and I'm stuck to the top of the house and I'm acting like what you about? Not me, not you, not him. Grinding till the lights get all dim. Trying to dunk, but I can't touch the rim. Trying to be that guy, but I'm not him. Like damn, I'm so sad, downright bad, and I'm about to get real mad cause I can't do shit, and I'm not gonna get not lit cause I just wanna get it, but I can't get shit like Ritz. The crackers can't stop the hackers cause I'm gonna be a slacker cause I'm not trying to pack her up. Get away from the home. Building shit up like we in Rome. Alright. Are we ever gonna focus up? Because this is nice. This is nice, but we're gonna focus up here. So I think what we can do is we can bookmark it. Error blocked diagnostic. Misuse abuse. Homie, what you thinking, what you're doing, what should be like, what you're doing, what you're being, What you being, what you doing, be like. What you doing, what you being like. Can I make it smaller? Like, god damn. Oh, I like that better. Hold up now. Hold on now. Damn, here we go. Mr. Guy, Mr. Him, Mr. Mine, Mr. Oh my, Mr. Me, Mr. You. Here we go. I'm gonna throw it up, throw it now, throw it. Here we go. Wow. NCBI PubMed. Here we go. I did it for Mr. Ned, SCBI. PubMed. Here we go. I do it, Ned. So is this PubMed? I guess this is published by PubMed. PubMed. What was it? 34%. the? Come on, for real. Okay, that was annoying. So I guess I have to get that right out of too. %. EMG. Oh, it's BMJ. Is that not what they are? Bro. That's what you want to be called for real? The BMJ, sure. We're gonna go here. 41%. Clap snap, and we beat MC, BBB, MC, BBB, MC. And I'm cold. Man, I'm cold. Man, I'm cold. Man, I'm cold. Man, I'm cold. Cold, cold, cold. Man, I'm cold, cold, cold. Man, I'm cold, cold, cold. Cold, 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 cold. Cold. All right.
coma, and doctors expect he will stay that way for the rest of his life. Then, 4 years later, Martin's mind steadily awakes, but he's unable to move or speak. Martin is looking out at the world, understanding everything, unable to communicate anything. He lives like this for a whole decade until one person believes he can communicate. And so begins the most incredible transformation. The inspiring story of Martin Pistorius, who became known as the Ghost Boy. Early morning in Johannesburg. A plane touches down carrying a son and a brother the Pistorius family once thought they'd never see again.
He never ceases to amaze us because since his awakening, he has achieved everything that he's dreamed of achieving.
As his parents, you are allowed to say he is an extraordinary human being.
He is.
He is. What makes him so extraordinary is that when he was 12, Martin Pistorius was struck down by a mystery illness that saw him suffer horror beyond imagination. Today, he has his life back. He speaks with the help of a computer, and his voice is being heard around the world.
What really got to me was the complete and utter powerlessness. The fact that I had absolutely no control over what happened to me.
How terrifying was it to contemplate being trapped like that forever?
I think probably the scariest thing for me was I couldn't really see that this would ever change.
Everyone agreed. Martin Pistorius was a very special child, growing up in suburban Pretoria to parents Rodney and Joan. The eldest son, the high achiever with a remarkable talent for electronics. So that intelligence, was that very, very obvious right from the start?
Yes.
Such a bright boy.
No, he told us when he was 3 that he was going to be an electric man when he grew up.
How's this going to happen? What's going to go into it?
What memories do you have of being a 12-year-old boy?
I don't have any memories from my childhood, but through photos and stories I have been able to piece together and get a sense of what I was like as a child.
It was 1988 and Martin complained of a very minor illness, a sore throat and a headache.
And he came up to me and said, I'm not feeling well. And then he never, ever, ever went back to school again.
It was far more serious than anyone could have imagined. Over the next 18 months, Martin's body shut down. He was losing his mind, losing any trace of the boy he'd been. Martin was slowly but surely regressing into a state of nothingness. For the next 4 years, Martin was lost.
It's a bunch of bull shark, bro. Okay. What? Mr. Yoki? What's it to you, doo-doo? Doo-doo?
Lost to the world. His intelligence, his memory, his ability to function had all been taken from him. This bright boy was now assessed as being severely mentally retarded, and he had no control over his body. Doctors never could say what had happened to Martin. All they could say was that he had no hope.
How difficult was it to watch as you lost your son?
Shattering, actually. He went through a phase when he stopped speaking where he would go, in response to questions.
That was the only sound we heard.
After he stopped that totally, he has never made sounds since.
In those lost years, what was Martin like?
Basically just an entity that was there. And we were told that Martin had the mental age of a 3-month-old.
Day after day, year after year, Rodney would deliver his son to a daycare centre for the severely mentally disabled. Martin, unaware he'd grown into a young man.
Jesus Christ.
Unaware, too, of the strain his illness was causing his parents. It was so bleak, the couple edged towards divorce. Joan even tried to take her own life, unable to accept what her son had become.
I tried to commit suicide because I just couldn't handle it anymore. And the psychiatrist told Rod that I thought my child had died, even though he wasn't dead.
Is that how you felt, that Martin had died?
Well, the child that I knew had died, yes. And we did.
I mean, I guess I could freaking put on a hoodie too, bro. I'm freaking cold like a booch. Damn. Like, gosh damn. Huh? Like, Mr. God damn. What? What, Mr. Yoki? What? What, Mr. Yoki? Come here! Come here! Come here! You are just a beautiful fellow. Yes? Yes. You are the most beautiful of all the fellows. Yes, you are. Get down. Get down. Alright. I don't want to land on your foot, okay? Oh my god, your collar got stuck.
We didn't know who this boy was. And we didn't even know whether he knew who we were.
Don't let me run over your toes. Did jeez. This is such like a.
What no
Just
one
make
knew
this a little
was
bit
that
more
inside Martin's
like.
body, a miracle was happening. After 4 years of a virtual coma, his
What?
brain was coming
Make this less uncomfortable to watch. How about that?
back to life. Flashes
Why are
of
we-
consciousness were lighting up the dark.
Why did we turn this into a horror movie?
Were you conscious that was consciousness returning? What did you think was going on?
It is sort of like an image which is grey and completely out of focus, then gradually the colours start to trickle back, and the image becomes clearer and clearer until it is crystal clear and in vibrant colour.
With his mind fast returning, but a body he was unable to control, Martin had no way of telling the world he was conscious, intelligent, and desperate to communicate. No one knew as he watched and comprehended some of history's greatest events.
We just saw on live television as a second plane flew into the World Trade Center.
Trapped in his body, he was a silent witness to it all.
Another plane just flew into the second tower. This has to be deliberate, folks.
How hard did you try to communicate in those early days?
I tried really hard to communicate, but when I realised that my attempts to communicate weren't being noticed, I eventually basically gave up trying.
It may have been a miracle, but there was no joy in Martin's awakening. He could not touch the world around him, could not tell his parents he was there. An onlooker to their anguish.
One night after yet another lengthy argument, my mother turned to me and told me I must die. Obviously, at that moment, it was a really difficult thing to hear, particularly coming from my mum.
I did actually say those words to you. That's not a fabrication. Because our life was absolutely hopeless.
Now knowing that Martin heard you say those words, you must die. How do you feel about that?
Horrific. Oh, absolutely horrified that he actually understood that. I mean, what mother says that to her child? And I would never ever have said that had I known that he understood.
What were your greatest fears?
Probably my greatest fear was dying all alone in some care home. I never really thought all worried about nobody realising that I was an intelligent person. I just didn't want to die alone.
Aww.
Rodney always maintained he would never let Martin be institutionalised, but to save the family, he did leave Martin at residential care facilities for weeks at a time, while he, Joan, and their other 2 children went on holidays. For Martin, it became a new dimension of his private hell. Can you tell me the worst of what happened in those care centres?
Yes, over the years I was physically, emotionally, and sexually abused at the care centres I was in. I was hit, pinched, manhandled, shouted at, intentionally dropped, and so on. I was also sexually abused. I think not being able to communicate makes you a perfect victim because you can never tell anyone.
It must be incredibly difficult to be confronted.
Jesus, imagine reenacting those as the nurse. Like, all right, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna act like you're gonna sexually abuse him. Like, Jesus Christ.
The evil that something
Okay.
to be the victim of them.
Yes, it is. And there were many times I would get so scared and anxious that my heart...
They don't like gotta reenact everything. Like, Jesus Christ.
It would jump out of my chest. I absolutely hated that. The prospect of going back there was just too much. Then I had a thought. The pillow I was lying on had a plastic cover over it. So I thought if I could get my head inside of it, then it would be like a plastic bag and I could kill myself that way. I managed to get my head inside the pillowcase, and for a while I thought it would work. But obviously it didn't, thankfully. But in that moment, the fact that it didn't work just made the agony 1,000 times worse. There was no escape.
Coming up, after all hope was lost,
She was the catalyst which changed the course of my life.
the one nurse who would save him, he could see his eyes looking back to you. The emotional reunion. And an impossible
Aww.
task.
Well, you do me the honour by becoming my wife.
I feel like 10 years ago. That's next.
Wait, that's the. He got married to the nurse that saved him? What the fuck?
For a decade, Martin has been able to understand everything, but unable to communicate anything. It is a living hell. But then, a remarkable nurse named Werner Vandervold saw something in Martin that nobody else could, and his life would change in the most extraordinary way. After 9 long years of being locked in his body, Martin Pistorius' salvation came in a chance hiring at his daycare centre. Relief nurse and therapist Werner Vandervold would give Martin his life back. What signs did you see that Martin was there and he was alert? He wanted to be a friend.
When you spoke to him, you could see his eyes are talking back to you. There was a sparkle in it. He was there.
Was he one of your favourites?
Yes. Why was that? I just think because we connected.
I think what made Werner different was she really talked to me, and I think the fact that we were the same age also helped because she spoke to me, I guess you could say almost like one of her mates, and she almost expected a response back.
Werner has the patience of a saint and the dedication of a true carer. Over 3 years, she learned to read what everyone else considered to be Martin's uncontrolled spasms as his desperate attempts to communicate. Over time, they formed a language of barely perceptible eye movements and nods. You know, when you learn how difficult it was for him
Oh my gosh.
to communicate, to nod, just even nod, what does that do to you?
You know, he didn't think that anybody was going to see him for who he was. So for him to actually trust me enough to even try to communicate, that's just amazing. I'm happy he did.
So I'm going to ask you if you can stop this communication, okay?
Once Werner realised Martin could communicate with her, she fought for his chance to talk to the world by having him tested. For the first time in 9 years, Martin had the chance to prove he was there. You can choose. Are we going to do the music or have the dance dance shall we do? Do you ever let yourself imagine what life would be like if Werner hadn't slowed your abilities?
I would probably still be in some care home, or dead. It scares me sometimes to think how easily things could have been so very different. She was the catalyst which changed the course of my life.
Oh.
Given the chance, Martin seized it with everything he had. From the most basic communication system of symbols, Martin mastered computers and synthesized speech.
He didn't just learn slowly, he ran. He just took in all this information and he learnt in double quick time.
But before he ran, it was an arduous journey. His mind a blank slate, he had to relearn everything. His mum helped him create a bank of words on every subject before he taught himself to read and write again.
It was quite a process. I remember one time my mum and I were sitting and creating grids and we were adding words like hug and kiss. My mum is a really down-to-earth, tell-it-like-it-is person, and so things quickly went from words about hugs and kisses to sex. I nearly died from embarrassment as my mum sprouted words like erection, ejaculation, and orgasm.
Thanks, Mum. That must have been a comfortable conversation.
Let's just say it was interesting. I was actually really grateful, embarrassed, but grateful that I had those words because, like any young man, I was intrigued by sex.
He told me that you came up with the words around the sex education.
Yes, well, I had to.
He wasn't even thinking of those words.
Oh, he wanted swear words and everything. You just don't know what he wanted.
Martin graduated with a degree in education from Victoria University, winning the Presidential Medal. He became a guest speaker at conferences around the world, and all without speaking a word. But what Martin wanted more than anything in the world was love.
And I remember one day when my father and I were driving somewhere, looking out the car window and thinking, I have so much love inside of me and nobody to give it to.
And he found it in Jonah, a friend of his sister living in the UK. And then this woman pops up, right? What was it about Joanna that caught your attention?
Well, she is gorgeous, for a start. But I think what really attracted me to Jonah was her personality. We just had an instant connection. She made me laugh. It was just so easy for us to sit and talk.
And for you, Jonah, what was it that attracted you?
Initially, the first day when I saw Morgan, I just thought, wow, he's so attractive. I love his smile and his eyes, you know. But then later on, as I got to know him, I just found him to be such an honest and sincere man.
So the eyes, the smile, and the honesty, you spotted all that by the start?
First the eyes and smile, and then like the rest, yes, but it was all over.
It was a
Why am I freaking smiling over this gay shit?
Conducted for 6 months.
Come on, bro.
And then finally the moment they met for the first time.
My heart was pounding as I went through the arrival doors. Of course, when I saw her standing then, I couldn't get to her fast enough. I couldn't believe it. We were finally together. I was ecstatic.
I think ecstatic is a great word to use.
And Martin, for you to embrace and kiss this woman, and for her to embrace and kiss you back, that the feelings were real and that they were mutual after all these years of loneliness. What was that experience like?
In a word, exhilarating and surreal. Okay, that's 2 words, but it was truly wonderful. Finally, someone loved me. Someone wanted me. Finally, I could give all the love I had inside of me to someone. In a way, too, I found serenity and kind of peace.
It was the most improbable and yet profound love affair.
I just thought, whatever his disabilities, whatever he can do, I'm more interested in what he can do.
But not even Jonah knew how romantic Martin could be when he decided to ask her to marry him, high above the African wilderness.
I was so worried about dropping the ring out of the balloon that I made sure there was springtime to so that if it fell, it couldn't go anywhere.
Because he couldn't speak the words, Martin recorded his proposal onto his mobile phone.
Aww.
You are my soulmate, my best friend, my companion, my lover, my rock and strength. So will you do me the honor, the enormous privilege of sharing the rest of my life with me by becoming my wife?
I feel like saying yes again.
And of course,
yes, it was a yes.
It was a yes.
It was a definite yes.
Being married to Jonah meant moving to the UK. And moments like this, when it's so cold out, you regret not deciding to come to Australia instead of the UK.
How would you do?
But for Martin, leaving his homeland meant leaving everything he knew, not just the support he relied on, but also the pain of his past.
At one point, it just got too much for me, and I completely broke down. I tried and tried and tried, confronting my past, the little boy I had been, everything my parents, my family I had been through, just everything.
So do you think the emotion was about realising what your parents had lost? Getting to know that little boy that you can't remember, and knowing how much you meant to them? Okay, Martin.
Aww.
In this new chapter of his life, Martin runs
Martin
his own
can
redesign
cry,
business, works
dude.
tirelessly for charities, and has
I
written a
think.
second book. Doctors were never able to say what caused his illness in the first place, and nor do they know how much more he'll recover. But the next and biggest adventure for Martin and Jonah is to start a family. His is now a life filled with joy, and ultimately he has one person to thank, which means a return to South Africa. Verna and Martin haven't seen each other in 8 years.
Hi, how are you?
She was the nurse who saw the potential, the person no one else could see. She listened to the Martin no one else could hear.
Can you drive here? I'm your iron.
And it's the gentle and understated Rodney who speaks for his son and his family in thanking her for Martin's return.
Do you realise how special you are? Because you're the one who identified his communication ability.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm glad that you are this wonderful person that you are. And I just wish you all. Please.
For someone who has experienced such anguish, how happy are you today?
I am so very happy now. Life is good, not without challenges, but then whose life isn't? But yeah, I am really happy. Life is worth living now, and I do my best to make the most of every moment.
It's good to see your smile today. Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching. To keep up...
That's insane, bro. Crazy, dude. Crazy, dude. Crazy, dude. It's crazy, dude. Crazy, dude. Martin. Martin Pistorius. Bitch. Oh my god, bruh. We really gonna make me capitalize fucking YouTube? Bruh. Bruh. Fuck you. Bruh. 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 Like, don't you ever wonder, homie? What is it? Pistorius? 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 12 fucking years. Oh my god. A communicate. So it would be like 1628. Essentially 12 years.
you're not. I think that's a dangerous road to go down, to decide whose reason is good enough to help them out of suicide and whose reason is good enough to help them into it.
Okay. I would disagree. I would say it's a really dangerous road to compel people to live for the happiness of others around them.
I don't believe we should compel people. I think
Well, that's what you're saying, is compelling somebody to live. If you're saying that you're not allowed to take your life, you're depriving them of arguably one of the most fundamental negative
I'm
rights they
saying
have.
doctors shouldn't kill people. I'm saying doctors shouldn't be killers.
Sure, should a person be allowed to kill themselves?
They should be allowed to refuse disproportionate care.
Should they be allowed to jump off a building or a bridge?
No.
So they shouldn't be allowed to kill themselves?
No, they shouldn't be allowed. No, they should not. Do you think they should be? Do you think people should be allowed to kill themselves?
Yeah, I think depending on the circumstances, yes.
Should they be allowed to kill themselves for any reason?
For any reason?
Yeah, they don't want to live.
Probably not.
Why?
Because I think that oftentimes the desire to kill yourself without a good stated reason is probably more evidence of some sort of mental problem that should probably be alleviated before the person can make that decision. So it would be an issue of, we would argue from an informed consent perspective, that you're not capable of making this decision because you're in a mentally compromised state. But if you take somebody who's 75, they've got stage 4 lung cancer, they've got 6 to 12 months ahead of them, they know it's going to be an excruciating experience, and they don't have a desire to live anymore, do you think that person should be deprived of the right to kill themselves, jump off a building, jump off a bridge? Because that's, in your world, they would have to do that because the doctors
Yeah,
can help
I don't make judgments that, oh yeah, you have a good reason to kill yourself. Because then what about the quadriplegic who says, you're a 75-year-old with cancer, what about the 20-year-old who will never move their arms and legs again and says, I can't live like this for my whole life? Should they just be allowed to roll themselves into the pool?
I think that there is plenty of research that shows that people that are even quadriplegics live healthy,
What if they
happy
say,
lives.
screw your research, I don't want to live this way?
If they, then I think it's more likely that there's something unhealthy with them, so they shouldn't be allowed to.
Why can't we say that for the 75-year-old? You know
because
what?
I think that for 75-year-olds, we do know the prognosis with stage 4 lung cancer at certain stages, and we can say it is going to be bad, and you are going to die with 6 to 12 months.
Right, but if anything, so you're saying that
I'm saying that a person who's 75 with that cancer.
Someone should be allowed to kill themselves so they don't have to go through 6 months of agony.
Yep.
But a quadriplegic who might go through 60 years of agony, no go.
Because at the end of the day, I'm making an empirical reference. I can say if we look at the pool of people that are quadriplegic at this age, 99% of them live and have decently happy, fulfilling lives.
So you're saying people don't really have a right to make autonomous medical choices. They only have the right to do what you think the research says.
No, they have the right to make a decision, but whether or not the decision is informed or not is important. Just like we would say, a 12-year-old doesn't have the right to make certain decisions because we don't think their consent is informed, right? We would say the same for a 20-year-old that wants to kill themselves because they might be disabled, probably isn't the same as a 75-year-old who does have all the information, who wants to make that same decision. Right. But in your world, you're saying a 75-year-old with stage 4 cancer is not allowed to kill themselves.
I am saying that I don't make distinctions about who has a good enough reason to kill themselves and who doesn't. I help anyone who is suicidal to not be suicidal. Now, if you have an 85-year-old who's...
Why'd they get 10 years older?
Does 75. Fine,
Okay.
a 75-year-old who is experiencing organ failure and they don't want to do dialysis because it might give them a few more months and it's expensive and painful. No, they might not do dialysis. Or you have someone who is very, very elderly and says, you know what, if I go into cardiac arrest, don't give me CPR. I think that can be understandable.
All of your examples are very easy ways out. Sometimes people are going to die in ways that aren't going to be quick. It's going to be 6 months.
Right.
So for a person that's going to die in 6 months, are you saying you're compelled to suffer for that entire 6 months? Or...
it's fine to... well, we're getting away from the topic.
No, hold on. You keep saying that. Okay, I'm going to force you to answer this question.
I'll answer it, but...
You're not answering it, though. You add aggravating, mitigating circumstances, and then you try to change something else.
I will answer the question, but you'll agree euthanasia is a different topic than abortion.
Well, yeah, of course.
I'll answer.
I just wanted to answer this question, yeah.
The answer is I don't think doctors should kill people, especially when that is an option for doctors to do. It becomes tempting for that to be the prescribed course of treatment instead of more expensive things to keep somebody alive. However, I do think that you could administer medication and pain medication to ease someone's suffering, even if it has a secondary effect of shortening their lifespan.
Okay, so you would say a 75-year-old who has the prognosis of 6 months of suffering, he's not allowed to terminate his life.
I don't think we should kill people who are suicidal.
Why can't you just... I don't know why you can't answer that question.
Because it's a...
I'm not talking about people that are suicidal. I'm saying...
He doesn't want to live.
Because his prognosis is 6 months of suffering. So people with a prognosis of 6 months of suffering and then dying, they're not allowed to terminate their life early. You would deprive them of that right.
I would like to answer the question, and it will sufficiently answer what you're asking me in the way that I am most comfortable.
Okay.
If someone wants to commit suicide, they don't want to live because life is has too much suffering for them.
Okay.
This person wants to die. They want to kill themselves because of too much suffering, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I am not in the business of saying who has not too much suffering or not enough suffering. In many cases, those who would kill themselves, it's not because of physical pain. It's because of loss of loss of
we're
dignity.
going to another.
That's fine. So my point is, because then there's no stopping point. 6 months, 12 months, 5 years, 10 years. There's no principled place to stop the cat.
But you can't say that I'm not in the business of, because you are. You're in the business of saying none of you can make that decision.
Right. I want to treat all humans equally. So anyone who is suicidal, their life has value. I'm going to help them out of a destructive decision.
Well, when you say their life has value,
yes,
but they're not the ones who decide when it has value or not. You're deciding that for them.
No, I say every human being has intrinsic value.
Yeah, but
every
if they're
human
saying
life is
part of the value of my life is I should get to decide when I want to go. I want to leave on my terms. But you're saying, no, I'm going to decide for you. You can't do that. You don't have that right.
I'm going to say we both do that because you're doing that with your research gambit to say, no. You, with your reason, if it's anything that's not 6 months left to live of a terminal illness, it turns out the research shows you don't have a good enough reason. Both of us are doing that. I'm just applying it to every single human being. You're trying to apply it to just a few, and there's no way you're able to really do that. With
I think I can. If you want, we can dive into that. I can give you super clear criteria, but
let's do a couple chats here. So we have Bender the Offender. Hey, thank you, man, for the super chat. On the topic of consciousness, it is important to remember that it is still not fully understood past its basic definition of awareness of internal and external existence. Consciousness is still very complex, as we have a motorcycle going by. Thank you, Bender the Offender. And I don't know if any of you guys have a response to that, but
I mean, obviously, I agree.
Just a statement.
I think the brain is still like the most complicated, understood, ununder-stood, misunderstood, or lack of understood organism or thing in the universe so far. Except for maybe black holes.
We have Richie Constitution here. Hey, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Destiny, why do you keep saying force a mother to carry the baby when she knows the consequences of having sex could be having a baby and she knows that contraception is not foolproof? Is she not responsible for her actions?
I mean, I could counter and say hypothetically there could be a rape, but I mean, that's kind of a boring counter. I mean, it's begging the question, like, the consequence of having a baby is delivering the baby. I mean, it doesn't have to be. The consequence could be you can get an abortion. That's the matter of what we're debating is what you should be allowed to do.
Well, both of us are forcing someone to carry a baby to term. Destiny would force them after 20 weeks.
Yeah, of course.
So I would just say, so both of us, I would phrase it this way. We're both forcing a pregnant woman to not allow someone else to kill or dismember her child.
But the difference is I'm forcing somebody to care about that 20-week picture, and you're forcing them to care about the 2-cell picture.
Yeah, and I'm saying that human value does not depend on what we look like. There's AI that looks just like us that doesn't have value. There are disfigured people who don't look like us. We evolved. The problem is that we evolved to care about people that look like us. That's why humans have a problem with racism. You know, we evolved an ability to trust the members of our tribe. You don't look like me. Maybe you're a danger. So we have an evolutionary predisposition to not trust people who don't look like us. Or we think people who are in the uncanny valley, like we're robots. I think that's due to the fact that we stay away from sick people that might get us infected. So we have an evolutionary predisposition to not care for people who look dramatically different. And I don't think that should guide our decision about whether early human embryo has a value.
Okay. I have a question for you, Trent. There's something that often comes up. No uterus, no opinion. So we do have two men here debating the abortion topic. So Trent, what would you say to someone who says that people who are pro-life, it's men wanting to control women or control women's bodies? What do you say to that?
Well, I had two women here last time, and I don't know. I'm having fun with the conversation we're having now. I think it's going well, and we can discuss this. I would say that there's a kernel of truth here. That, for example, I and anyone else who has never been pregnant, which would include some women, are not in a position to say, oh, pregnancy's easy, pregnancy's hard. If you haven't done it, you're not in that position. You people have been pregnant, you don't know what it's like for other people to go through pregnancies. It might be harder or easier for them. So on one hand, like, if you've never been pregnant, you can't really say, oh, it's hard, oh, it's easy. You haven't gone through it. But you can say, for example, that child abuse or child labor, making your kids work in a mine or abusing kids, that's wrong even if you never have children. You know, or like a white person can say racism is wrong even if they've never been a victim of racism. Just because you are not personally affected by an issue, it doesn't follow you can't have a valid perspective on it. This argument, it goes to its logical conclusion. Transgender women can't have an opinion on abortion. They don't have uteruses, you're right. Women who are postmenopausal, Hillary Clinton, Ruth Bader Ginsburg can't have opinions because they can't get pregnant anymore. Just like I can't get pregnant, they can't get pregnant in the future, I can't get pregnant in the future. So I think that the argument that if you're a rational being and you can assess moral reasoning, you can have an opinion on important stuff.
Got it. And I want to throw this in here, and I brought this up before, and I know it's kind of certainly must be decades or even longer away from even being a possibility. Any thoughts on a middle ground compromise between pro-choice side and pro-life side being an artificial womb? And assuming said artificial womb, if you were able to transplant the fetus or embryo,
not position, maybe for others.
But if you were able to put it into an artificial womb, and that artificial womb was advanced enough to, you know, it would be as healthy as a baby that would have otherwise been born normally. Do you think that that's could be a compromise? Or?
Well, it's where we basically have artificial wombs that can handle an embryo up to a few days old, or a fetus from like 20 weeks on. So it's like we can take care of an unborn child like
going from each end, meeting back in the middle. But we can't really do anything from a week or two until like 18 weeks. You might have some liquids that are oxygenated. The problem is at 20 weeks, these lungs aren't really developed enough to breathe. That's the problem. Oxygenated liquid, maybe we can do that, push back more. What I would say is that it would only be a compromise if your position on abortion were this. Yes, it is a human person, but it has no right to the mother's body. If you're only arguing women have a right not to abortion, but the right to not be pregnant, then the artificial womb can play in. Because you wouldn't have a right to necessarily kill the fetus. The only right you have is I don't want to be pregnant anymore. Fine, move the fetus to this one. Then you really lose the argument that I also want the fetus to be dead, because I don't want to deal with that child out there. If your argument is just you have a right to not be pregnant, you can't really get to that. But if you say that the fetus is not a person anyways, well, if you can kill them if you can permanently make them unconscious, if you can do anything to them before 20 weeks, which is basically Destiny's position, you can't be compelled to put them in an artificial womb.
Any thoughts on?
No, changing anything.
Well, so let's say a mother who doesn't want to go through with pregnancy, she could get an abortion. However, the fetus, baby, whatever, would not be killed. It would just be transferred to an artificial womb.
Yeah, but
so
the
the mother,
weeks after, if you want to do it, prior to 20 weeks, there'd be no compulsion to transfer if anything.
Well, the compromise would be at any point, assuming we could develop an artificial womb, that even from, I don't know how quickly it typically gets discovered, 6 weeks or 4 weeks, 5 weeks. In any case, from pretty much any point in pregnancy, even very early on, it could be transferred to an artificial womb. Okay. If a woman wanted to not go through with pregnancy, she'd have to go to a hospital. It'd be transferred to an artificial womb. I suppose once the child was born, it would become a ward of the state. Or if she was maybe she didn't want to actually go through with the pregnancy, but she may be prepared to actually mother the child. Because I think some women's concern when it comes to abortion is, it's plausible that some women who get abortions might actually be willing to take care of the child once it's born, but perhaps they don't want to, for other reasons maybe, they don't actually want to go through.
Well, that's why a lot of celebrities hire surrogates now.
Right,
Gestational
exactly.
surrogates.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, what is hard is also, if that were out, I think that would be better than the child being aborted. But I still think that a child who's in existence if they're a person, they have the right to reside in a mother's womb, the place that is safe and natural for them to live.
Sure. But I mean, of course, this is assuming that, there's certain arguments about, well, about certain, I'm trying to think just a specific term that's evading me, but, what was it with the, it slipped my mind, but, assuming that you could, in an artificial womb, you could bring the child to term just as healthily as the mother's womb. I don't know if that's even possible, but let's say it is. I suppose my only concern with the artificial womb, just looking at it from this one narrow lens of abortion, is what are the sort of other ramifications?
Well, ramification, if you could deliver at 18 weeks, right now early is like 20, but we could get there where you can keep an 18-week-old fetus alive in an incubator. So it could be sitting in an incubator, and for the next 2 weeks, the parents would have, under Destiny's view, a free decision whether or not they want to kill that fetus in that hospital incubator right in front of them. Correct? Yep. Okay. So I think that people would find it research.
Sure. And certainly, I think there's other concerns with artificial wombs, like people actually it wouldn't be used strictly in situations where perhaps a woman wanted to have an abortion, or perhaps a woman couldn't have a healthy pregnancy,
I think I would be very worried about
like farming humans.
Well, if Destiny's view is correct, and you cannot harm the fetus before 20 weeks, there's nothing stopping you from using IVF embryos, abandoned embryos. There's thousands of abandoned embryos in cryobanks. You could just put them into these artificial wombs, do something to their brains, and they never become conscious. Sure. You've got organ harvesting, you've got sex dolls, or even just making them just unconscious. Use them as cadavers for med students to work with. I think many people would find that to be really, really awful and counterintuitive. We ought not treat those human beings that way. And if they are persons, that best explains that intuition. Sure. That's true. But I would also, I was kind of the thing I translated over that. Sometimes we have incorrect intuitions. Yeah.
All right, we have a super chat here from Richie Constitution. Doesn't you want to read this one?
Please. Destiny, why do you keep saying forcing mother to carry the baby when she not? Wait, we're doing this one.
Oh, did we do
this
one? Oh, my apologies. We do have this one, which I was actually going to ask the same way as well. Nerd, for Trent and Destiny, can you in a couple sentences steel man each other's position and explain what is most powerful about each other's position?
Yeah.
And just one thing, the way I was going to ask this, maybe not necessarily each other's position, but if you were to steel man the pro-choice side of Destiny, if you were to steel man the pro-life side, Trent, would you like to
Well, I would say Destiny's position is that the thing that we value is human conscious experience. That is something that is unique in the world that we value, and so we should provide legal protections only to beings that have human conscious experiences. And his position is that this covers beings from 20 weeks until they permanently lose that ability, like if they're in persistent vegetative state. If I were to steel man his position, I would just turn it into Peter Singer's position on abortion, which is because I would say that what makes the human conscious experience unique is not merely that a human is conscious and is aware of light, heat, pressure, cold, sour, familiar noise, unfamiliar noise, but that they can reason, they can do things more than what animals can do. So we value the human conscious experience that is unique to human beings no other animal has, and we only find that like from 9 months after birth until traumatic injury. So I would just say that for me, the only way to steel man Destiny's position would be to include infanticide. I think a transposition is essentially a teleological argument. There's a telos, there's a design and function and purpose of a zygote from the moment of conception up to the moment of death. We have one consistent organism with its own genetic code, and the most consistent boundary to draw around protection of life is from the moment of its conception, the time that unique organism is created, which is at the moment of conception, until the time of its death, which is when essentially metabolic function has ceased. Because the telos, or the design of, or the ordinary function of that particular egg is to gestate in the womb, be born into a person, grow, develop, and eventually die as a human being.
That's just the amount of the other side. That's okay. All right, we have a chat here from Kyle Whittington. Thank you. I appreciate the super chat. What do each of you see as the what do each of you see as the strongest argument from the other? I think we kind of just about that. How about this though? Let Kyle want to do this since we kind of just answered that. What is the weakest argument you hear from the other side?
The weakest argument from the pro-choice position would just be abortion ought to be legal because born people will suffer if it's illegal. I think that is an extremely common argument. If you brought in a bunch of people who Destiny's thought about this a lot, I thought about it a lot. If you brought in regular people from off the street out here to defend their pro-choice view, that'd probably be the first argument. So what about women rape? What about poverty? What about all these issues? Overpopulation, whatever. The worst argument is we need to have legal abortion because born people would suffer without it. Of course, it's a terrible argument because it ignores what are the unborn. If you're saying you can kill a human being in the first 9 months of their life because if not doing that, you're going to suffer. Well, you can think of cases of killing born children. Children in foster care, for example, like, they're going to be drug addicts and prostitutes. Maybe we should just kill them so they don't have a terrible life. Well, we don't do that to toddlers, and we shouldn't do that to unborn humans if they're both equally human at the same value. And so I'd say that those pragmatic arguments are the worst arguments.
Destiny, what do you think?
I think the two worst ones are, one is the picture argument, and like the if you show a picture and it's like, is this right or wrong? I feel like the best illustration of that was, I don't remember what his name was, but there's a guy on Charlie Kirk's show, and he held up a picture of like a 24-week embryo, and he's like, is this human? And Charlie's like, absolutely. And he goes, this is a big embryo. And Charlie's like, oh, no, you can't go fight over that. I think the second, the most morally reprehensible argument, I don't like, the donor kind of did it. I don't like the argument from responsibility, because they almost make it sound like a child is like a negative consequence or punishment from sex. I think that one gets really loaded because it starts to feel like they're using a child as a form of punishment to attack a woman, which is a really poor way to deal with a woman, and it's a really sad way to deal with the existence of a child. Like the idea that children are consequences negative of actions they take. So I think those two things.
But you're not a fan of bodily rights arguments for abortion that say even if it is a person, you still have the right to have an abortion. You don't think those arguments work. Wouldn't the basis of that be, if the unborn human being is a person, you can't abort them because you have moral duties towards them?
Yeah, but I think the moral duties, somebody wants to talk about like moral duties to other people, or the de facto guardianship that you inherit over drugs you don't provide care. That's one argument. But the way that it's phrased oftentimes is like, a woman should have consequences.
I agree with you, it can be very crass and sexist.
There is like a more elegant way to make that argument about moral duties and responsibilities that I probably made. Actually, I did against that. Dylan had to argue against that. So yeah, we're good. But oftentimes it's just phrased in a really negative way that makes
Well, it's like you had sex, you should own up to it. When it's only levied at women, for example, and not men, that they should support her and child, and then it's done in sex. So.
All right, and then we have one sec here.
Especially because the same people oftentimes make arguments for men being able to financially support their responsibility too. So even though it takes two to create maybe more than that.
Yeah, I say they both have different responsibilities, but equally they're responsible.
Got it. Sorry guys, trying to get this triggered once more. Not that kind of triggered the stream. That was one we had. By the way, Destiny, I see you're not wearing a wedding ring, but you are married with.
I'm playing with. I was playing with mine.
Okay. Kirby, 1/3 of rats have a conscious ability to hear, see, smell to a great extent, more so than a newborn human. In these ways, the consciousness is greater, yet they're not persons. Destiny appealed to human conscious experience, as if the fact that a I guess he didn't have enough time to.
Yeah, I don't agree that diminished human experience is like similar to like a rat or a pig or a lizard. I've never seen any description academically of that. But I mean, again, if somebody were like compellingly argue that, then they would just be pushing me closer and closer to Peter Singer's position, which I think is like abortion up to 2 years old. I think is his position.
He says 28 days, 9 months. People give different time frames, but it's sometime after birth. So, yeah.
All right, and I had another question here. And I don't know if you were able to fully give an answer, Trent, but so legislatively speaking, I don't know if you fully answered. So you would like to make abortion illegal, is that correct?
Yeah.
To perform, to get an abortion?
Yeah, I would say that the laws that I think would be most helpful to pass, given, I would just go with the laws that are being passed now in states that are making abortion illegal, where it is illegal to perform an abortion. So that wouldn't reflect on those who seek out the procedure. It's on medical doctors who should know better. So those, I would say that procedure should be outlawed. And so in doing that, I don't think that's inconsistent because you can craft laws. Let's say, for example, you see prostitution as a public health threat, so much so that it ought to be illegal. It's not inconsistent to simply say, well, to take into account the circumstances of women who are involved, we're going to make it illegal to buy sex but not to sell sex. And so we charge the Johns and Pence and all those other people. So I think that you can have something similar. But I do think that, yeah, I do think that unborn children should be protected from harm in the womb whether they want to or not.
And we do have the the other two chats here from Kirby. Hold on, let me get these pulled back up. I think this he just, okay, two out of three of his messages. Newborn with less conscious ability than a rat is a person because of their humanity, not their extent of conscious. If less consciousness than a pig, but you're human, makes a newborn or a 20-week fetus a person, then this shows the extent, and then, hold on, of consciousness is not the person-making factor. You must therefore either appeal to a future greater extent of consciousness or appeal to humanity in itself. Either appeal prevents you from advocating for pre-20-week abortions. Do you guys have a thought on this?
It's the same thing that they're saying about setting a bar that's either too low that animals can jump through it, or too high such that a 20-week-old or a 9-month-old fetus can jump through it. But again, I would argue that human conscious experience is a kind of conscious experience that's unique from the perception that is a state of human experience, not from the perception. From the perception of conscious experience, so from the 20-week period, 20 to 28 weeks, that once that conscious experience starts, that is a unique state of human conscious experience. It might be diminished or developing, but it's something unique from any other type of animal.
And I would say this begs the question. Dogs have unique conscious experiences. Birds have unique conscious experiences. So just because you have a unique experience, it doesn't follow that it deserves legal protection.
No, human unique limits.
Why?
I don't know why does that exist. I mean, that's fundamental. There are rights, I believe, that we afford each other, and one of those is the right to not be killed.
Right, and to me, I think when the human part of the equation is pressed into service to save one from becoming a radical vegan, I think that more slides into defending the pro-life view that all humans are valuable, regardless of whether they currently have conscious experiences or they will eventually have them.
And I don't think we should hold women, on trial for murder because they abort something that hasn't even woken up yet.
But you think they should be on trial for murder for something that has the most minimal consciousness they can have as a human being.
Absolutely. But yeah, the opportunity to abort first.
And not murderers if they euthanize your dogs.
Correct. I can euthanize your dog, yeah. But I don't think people would take demand murder investigations.
We have a chat here from Gohan Bent, I think, super chat. Should a mother be compelled to carry a baby to term if, at 2 weeks, it's determined that the future child absolutely will carry destiny out of Diamond 4, saving his League of Legends career?
Absolutely, because the future person being saved there. That's me, plus saving life.
Okay, there you go.
I would say that's not a potential person. It is a person with great potential to help us.
Of extraordinary capabilities.
Got it. And this one's kind of random, related to time travel. So Destiny,
why not?
Why not? Destiny, if you're a mom and this wanted to abort you at say 7 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, let's say you time travel back in time, would you advocate for or against your abortion?
I think that everything starts with fundamental basic human logics. Some people call these properly based beliefs. I've heard other very simple things, but everything starts from these. From here, we have an understanding of something called causality, that event leads to event, that leads to event. If you want to break a chain of causality and then ask me a question past that, I can't give you any kind of consistent or coherent answer. If you go back in the past to do other things, then there's like paraconsistent logics and all sorts of weird things that open up that I can't give any meaningful answer for. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, fair enough. If you had anything on the chat.
I'm pretty. Time travel is fun in movies. It's a nightmare in philosophy. Sure. One question.
Okay, and then let's see, I had a question here.
Wait, what?
Or coherent answer.
Or against your, at say 7 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever. Let's say you time travel back in time. Would you advocate for or against your abortion?
I think that everything starts with fundamental basic human logics. Some people call these properly based beliefs. I've heard other very simple things, but everything starts from these consistent or coherent. I don't know.
One question.
Okay, says that it's hard to take conservatives seriously on the abortion issue, considering, perhaps not all conservatives, but some, or who knows the percentage breakdown, considering their social Darwinism on many other issues.
Well, I would say that a person can be correct and still be inconsistent. So 150 years ago, there were white people who were saying that black people should not be slaves, but also that black people shouldn't be allowed to marry white people, they should be allowed to vote. So they were correct about the wrongness of slavery, even though they're wrong about some of the other rights that they should have. So you could be right about abortion, and then you're incorrect about other stuff. You're not applying your worldview consistently. I also think, though, that the argument is incredibly loaded in that regard. I think saying that conservatives on social Darwinism is like saying liberals want to do logs. You know, it's that it's a caricature of one's position. It ultimately comes down to, I support the social program, you don't want to spend as much as me on it, so you're a social Darwinist. We're going to disagree about, well, is this the best way to solve this problem? There are going to be solutions where we're not sure what the right answer is. But I think that there should be solutions where we're clear what the wrong answer is. Like, we may not know exactly what to do with immigration. We shouldn't shoot immigrants who are coming over the border. People are going to disagree. How do we treat unborn children if they're persons? Well, very least, we shouldn't dismember them. We shouldn't directly kill them. By the way, the hypocrisy thing goes back to liberals too. They claim to be all pro, like, what is it, Reason or somebody else did a video about this, where they went to the Democratic National Convention and said, are you pro-choice? Like, absolutely. Okay, do you believe in the choice to own a gun? Do you believe in the choice, school choice, private schools? Do you believe in the choice to do this or that? Oh, no, you can't do that. So it cuts both ways.
Okay, got it. And let me see what else we had here. Question here for Destiny. So if it became absolutely clear to you that the unborn child before, is it 23 weeks? 20 weeks? 20 weeks. Before that period, if it became absolutely clear that it's a living human being, would you then favor outlawing abortion before 20 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's not your position. But
My position has nothing to do with the timeline, it's with the timeline of conscious experience.
Okay, gotcha. We have another super chat here from the Joshua Project. Hey, thank you, I appreciate it. Should husband be required to take paternity test prior signing a birth certificate? And if he found not to be the father, should the mother be charged with fraud? And should taxpayers be forced to pay for unwed mother's children?
Well, I would say the children didn't do anything wrong, so like we should still provide care for them. It's not their fault; they're in not ideal situation. So, but I would say what's interesting here is this touches on something called the presumption of paternity. So throughout most of history, up until very recently, when a child is born, it's really easy to figure out who mom is, right? Because she's right there.
Yeah.
But it hasn't always been easy to figure out who dad is. So that's why throughout most marriage and common law, the presumption of paternity is that if a woman gives birth, the husband is the man she's married to, and he is the only one who can challenge that. And so he might challenge paternity. You know, hey, I was away at war for a year, and you got pregnant and had a kid. What's going on here? But otherwise, that would be up to him to challenge. And yeah, if there's an issue there, I think the child should just be taken care of, even if the marriage is a mess.
Sure. Any thoughts on this, Destiny?
Treated as fraud, you have to prove it's fraudulent. There could legitimately be a mistake where a woman is dating or casually having sex with other people and then has a more formal relationship and then she got pregnant and didn't realize it. Like, I don't know if it counts fraud if that's the case.
Well, I think that's why also to have a strong familial structure, the best thing for families, though, would be something that's monogamous to prevent these kinds of things from happening.
Sure, but I'm saying crime of fraud requires a mens rea intent to fraud. I don't even defraud somebody accidentally, right? Like,
Right,
you just
you
be careful. Yeah. So I think all forms of mismaternity or incorrect paternity are necessarily fraudulent. You have to prove the willful fraudulent behavior of the mother.
I mean, but would it be fraudulent if there was around the time period where she got pregnant, there was infidelity that was at no point ever disclosed to the husband, and
but like she'd be estranged from him. Get back. I guess it would be hard for her to
timeline-wise.
Well, also because
you can argue that due diligence is necessary.
Fine life. Thank you for the average.
You can argue there's like necessary due diligence there, but from a mother perspective, sure.
Okay. But you're saying, let's assume that you could prove it's fraud. Like she knew it's not the baby. Should there be civil penalties, criminal penalties?
I mean, whatever the normal thing is for scamming at the state or another person, I guess, whatever it ordinarily is.
Well, I don't think you can, regardless of who the father is.
I think that'd be more like it's more of a civil matter now to deal with family court about how to support the child who's related to that. I still think that husbands have duties to their wives even if these things happen. This is infidelity doesn't break marriage.
This is like a red pill fantasy question of like that all women are trying to defraud fathers with like fake child support. It was just the question.
I would say, well, should wives be able to have civil liability for their husbands if they knock it under control? Why is anyone asking about that?
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're not asking about that.
That's the red pillars.
But I think perhaps it's a greater wrong because. Actually, I don't know. I'm going with that one. But as far as the paternity testing, I think my personal stance is I would actually be in favor of when a child's born, there's just automatic paternity test. That way, there's absolutely no questions.
I would just, to me, I would say that it's rare that happens, and that's why my preferred option would just be, well, I think people have the option to ask for that as if they're not married. But that's why my ideal would be, that's the reason we bring children into existence in marriage. It's not just some romantic option. Like when a child is conceived, you've got a helpless human being, and whose duty is towards that child? Really, it's the mother and father. If they die, we can come up with a decent substitute, but the mother and father are really irreplaceable to that child. They can never be truly replaced. It's always almost there. So we have an institution to make them irreplaceable to each other, which would be a lifelong, permanent, non bond that's socially recognized. And that's why marriage is so important to society.
Do we know the percentage breakdown of the incidence rate of paternity fraud? So basically, or
very, it's like 1 to 2%. Like all
I've heard up to 10%.
That's a total fucking lie. Whoever told you should never trust a single thing about any
data.
Whoever told you that? Wait, who told you that?
The paternity fraud is up
to 10%. Yeah, who told you that? You know what? I just defined I got this fucking direct revelation. I just got special revelation. I forgot what he said. This fucking more probably read something that said, in the case where paternity is challenged, 10% of them are fraudulent. I can maybe believe that number. Well, you're going to say that 10% of all paternity is like that.
That'd be like 1 out of every 10 kids. It's not really their kid. That's insane.
I agree with you that it may be the case that when
Successful. Successful. Made the Yankee have more famous.
When it's challenged. I mean, but most fraternities not. Exactly. So it's probably only challenged in cases of suspected infidelity. In which case,
I'll Google it. Incidents of fraternity fraud. Maybe that's the perfect prompt for this. Okay, so it does look like there's some challenge to this 10% number.
That was the insane number.
For all, yeah. For sure. So, according to Wikipedia, which is not, it says that in studies that solely looked at couples who obtained paternity testing because paternity was being disputed, there are higher levels, an incidence of 17% to 33% in instances where the paternity is being
We
disputed.
need the Maury clip right now. You are not the father. So that's in a very, that's probably in, if I had to guess, less than 5% of births, probably less than that of paternities are challenged, and then of that less than that percent, 17 to 33% of those might come back as being
Let's see, I'm trying to find another thing here. Well, in any case, I would be in favor of paternity testing upon birth.
Why?
Yeah, just
What if it's a false positive? 1 out of 1,000. Yeah, I don't believe in mandatory medical intervention unless it's to prevent neglect or violence towards a human being. So just for this, like, that's why we have a presumption. The only person if they're worried, the dad can make that call. Otherwise,
Okay, fair enough. Let's see, did we get another chat in, Nick, or? No, I don't think we did. Do you guys have anything else? I might have one more questions, but do you guys have any other topics you wanted to touch on, or?
I think people see our positions and see which one makes the most sense of everything we believe about the world. So sure. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I had another question here. Let's see.
3 hours, not bad.
One sec, guys. Sorry, I lost my place in my notes here. If a pregnant woman and her unborn child are murdered, do you believe the criminal should face 2 counts of murder and serve a harsher sentence? I suppose I'll open this up to the both of you.
I think more people have been killed, yeah, so it's you more counts of homicide, yeah.
Okay.
And birth testing probably depends on how far along the fuse was. It was after 20 weeks. Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's not far along it is, yeah.
Okay. All right. One sec here, guys. My notes are lagging. I'm lagging. Sorry. Hold on. Let me play something appropriate for this one.
But I'd love to hear your opinion on this at some point. You want to be the neutral, or you want to be the neutral moderator?
I'll just stay neutral on this one. But yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Did we get any chats or good on chats, Nick? Is there one more that came in? What are you looking for, Nick? Okay, cool. Last chance, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, it was, I enjoyed chatting with you about this, and I think these kind of conversations, like, these are really, this shows at the very least this is an important issue. It's a weighty moral subject. And I think conversations like this, their goal, it's not, no conversation like this is never like end the issue, but I think it can encourage people, you should think about this kind of stuff deeply, and think about it to have at least a coherent view, and test it and refine it. So I'm glad at least this conversation with us, if it can get people to think about this, then I think it's a worthwhile discussion to have. Yeah, okay.
Okay, very cool. All right, well, I think we are going to wrap. Yes, let me check. There is. Thank you for catching that. We have our final chat here from Jazz. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Conservatives want to ban abortion, but simultaneously oppose social services for children, lunches in schools, and socialized healthcare. Single-parent households have the worst outcomes in terms of education and criminality. As a physician, conservatives are discussing. His words, not mine. Don't shoot the messenger. This sort of almost echoes my question I asked earlier about social Darwinism. But if you'd like
the
to
other problem with this stuff is it's such a monolithic binary way of thinking. Like, there are lots of pro-choice Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, like, we call them very, I grew up in Arizona, call them very bold Republicans. Like, there's a lot of people who are conservative who are actually, I would say, well, it's interesting. There's a decent number of pro-choice Republicans. There are a few pro-life Democrats. There's a lot rarer to find pro-life Democrat than it is to find a pro-choice Republican, in my opinion. So I do think that that's just, it's a stereotypical argument there. There are a lot of, you can be, I would say being pro-life is a very liberal position because the goal of liberalism is to expand the sphere of human equality to as many people. Matt Entoff was, he's an atheist, he wrote for the Village Voice, he did a consistent life ethic. There's lots of people like that. So I would say that it's, so it's not a strictly political thing, but yeah, but the thing is, like, I would say democracy goes both ways. It's bad if you only care about children before they're born and not after. But it's also hypocritical to only care about them after and not before. And I also think it's lame to say you don't care about kids because you disagree with my policy. Well, people can disagree about what's the best way to help people. So overall, I think it's kind of an objection. They have nothing to do with each other. Like people will, but the conservative answer is we do care about children after we're born. We just care about them in different ways because we don't need the federal government's responsibility to take care of children. I guess community, churches, families. So it's yes. Or do you say it is the federal government's responsibility? But the question is where do we draw the line? Where do we go too far? Not so much.
Okay, got it. And you often hear, perhaps in the other side, you'll often hear them say the other side's evil in this discussion. Both sides might say that. Do you think the other side is evil for wanting?
I think very rarely. It's incredibly rare that anybody's evil. I do believe that people share 99% the same kind of like moral intuitions. I think there's just a disagreement of factual matters sometimes when it comes to understanding certain positions. Now there are going to be some positions at the edges. So abortion, I think, and veganism are two of them, where there's room for legitimate disagreement because we're getting at the boundaries of like human knowledge, like what is a human life or what is a conscious experience. These are like the hardest questions to ask. But I think overwhelmingly for most things, we all agree. Like if we show somebody that we all do, if we do this thing, all poverty will go away. If that thing was eradicating the government and living as an anarchist society, like left and equal, okay, well, really, poverty, fine. And then on the flip side, making the most socialized government ever that pays for every stuff and everybody's happy and healthy, even conservatives should say, okay, well, if that does make sense, that's a position. But I think at the same time, we all want the same thing, we just get there radically different ways. Yeah, it's a difficult question. Is the other side evil? I mean, only people can have the property of being good or evil. I think that legal abortion is evil. I think the act of abortion is evil because it kills an innocent human being who has a right to life. And I think that people who defend legal abortion have different levels of culpability for being immoral for defending this thing. Some people can be misinformed, mistaken. They have used their rational powers in a mistaken way to defend an awful position. Like I think Peter Singer defends an evil position when he defends infanticide. But I also think there's a difference between someone who says, you know what, I'm for abortion because even if it is a baby, I don't care. People should be able to do what they want. I would say that is appealing to the evil-based instincts, and other people are defending this evil with mistaken rational arguments.
Okay, got it. Where can people find you, Destiny?
YouTube.com/Destiny, Kick.com/Destiny, and Instagram.com/Destiny.
And Trent, what about you?
Yeah, people can find me on YouTube. Just search for the Council of Trent, COUNSEL. So Council of Trent on YouTube, Google, iTunes, on Twitter, Trent Horn. If you want to learn more about this subject, actually, I just released the second edition of my book. I get a book like at the end. Persuasive Pro Life, I talk about culture stuff, this issue. The first, you can go to shop.catholic.com to get it. It should be in Amazon soon to replace the first edition, but I wrote the first one in 2014, but now that Roe vs. Wade's overturned, I wrote a follow-up that reworked everything, so people can check that out. Yeah, Council of Trent on YouTube. You can check that out.
You have Catholic.com?
Yes,
or are you affiliated with
I work for Catholic Answers, so I do work for them. And back in the 90s, Carl Keating's the guy who founded the thing. And so he founded the company back in 1988. So in 1992, he got, like, the early 90s, he got the staff together and he said, listen, I've been reading the trade journals, and there's this thing coming soon called the internet. And it's going to change everything. Like, you're going to be able to order food on it. And one of the guys there was like, what, are you going to, like, go to your computer and there'll be a camera, and you just get the milk out of the fridge through the camera on your computer? Oh, you'll be able to do all this stuff, but everybody will have their own address. So we got to make sure that since we're Catholic Answers, we should get Catholic.com. And so he got it in 1993. Like, the one thing that, like, the Pope would be like, we didn't appreciate it, they gave us Catholic.com. Sorry, that's Mario, the Pope, but, you know, he's our petition would say the Pope's for Catholic.com. Do you guys get that? We made a deal with him if he could do a few things for us, maybe. But he doesn't have authority to make us do that. So follow faith and morals. By the means, don't fall under jurisdiction. But yeah, so Catholic.com is where I'm at.
Would that be like an eminent domain thing, but for Catholicism? Like, with Pope can make you gifts and stuff? Or
well, back in the Middle Ages, when the Pope was aligned with the Emperor and he had a lot more civil authority over things, maybe. Nowadays, not so much.
Okay, got it. Okay, guys, well, guys, last call. Please hit the like button on your way out. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you very much to our two guests here. Thank you, guys. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that. To our viewers, thank you to everyone who's chatted, donated, and supports the show. Thank you to all our chat mods. Thank you to Brett, who's helping with timestamps. We will be live again with our dating talk Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific. Hope you guys enjoyed this stream of Sevens in the chat. And yeah, we will see you guys again Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.
What would you say is the best pro-choice argument that you've heard? So one argument would say that abortion isn't wrong because it's only wrong to kill someone if they have interests, if they have some kind of, you're depriving them of something. But the unborn have never been conscious, and so you can't deprive them of anything. They're not aware of life, so they can't be harmed. And so if you can't be harmed, what you do to a person is wrong. I know, I think this argument is faulty because you can harm someone even if they aren't aware of the thing they're being deprived of. For example, if I was just to stand to
I disagree.
What would you say is the best
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you on it. I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you could disagree with me, but we're not. You mentioned that there
I
are
disagree.
three different
John, I
shades
think
of
we have to be able to
here.
talk about these issues in the open regardless of the color of our skin. I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you on it. I think you're doing a disservice to our country by failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you could disagree with me, but we're not.
On YouTube, live on YouTube. We are live right now. Come check it out. We are finishing the debate here live on YouTube. You want to turn your webcam? You can do that, man.
Yeah, everyone, Parker did a job on YouTube still there.
All right, everyone, see you still there. Parker did a job on YouTube. Parker did a job on YouTube. We're gonna finish it here. Y'all see it?
Actually, are you gonna remain live on TikTok?
I can if you want.
It's probably good to drop people in.
Yeah, if you want to do that. Holy shit, the comments on the YouTube are insane. See my comments?
Here, I'll do this. I'll remain live on the phone as well.
Yeah, I was gonna turn off my volume. All right. Wait, I can still hear you perfectly fine. All right. Well, everyone, do join that real quick. Do join real quick. We can finish the debate here real quick. You know, turn the webcam from your Discord.
Yep.
No live. YouTube is live. There are literally so many people in the chat.
Good. This is impressive. My webcam is not that good on my laptop.
I'm making sure we are live on YouTube. Give me 1 second, everyone.
Just put on your webcam as well.
I already have it on.
So weird. Wait, I don't see it. Oh, it's like.
It's like everyone look at my link tree. Look at my link tree. Literally just go to my link tree. Wait, actually, I don't see it. Oh no, you can click live. Everyone can click live. There's 2.1 people in here. You can see it. Click refresh the YouTube or just click live.
What are they debating?
There we go. Maybe try to find a way. There we go. Maybe try to find a way. There we go. Yeah, you gotta ask about it. I think I have always. You gotta ask information. I think the conversation is not productive, but I think that we can have productive dialogue on the issue now. I agree in some ways.
Are we debating or
yeah, are we debating or are we debating?
Yeah, go for it. You can start it. I'll step in whenever needed. I'm just gonna get people to come over to the YouTube, and I'll probably know.
Okay. So I just wanted to clear this up because I actually think we can't have thinking about it. So you were making the claim that maybe there is some actions of humans that are evil, and all things considered shouldn't occur even respect.
Just quickly, Buff. The reason I'm doing this, I think it'd be more interesting if you make an argument rather than rehashing this one. The reason I say this is because you
you largely haven't touched my argument, at least with an argument we can agree on. I think it's fair not to spend 2/3 of the time on this argument, but circles.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. Like, I want to be able to respond to your argument and give you that respect, but I also just want to be able to have you respond to mine. And I think that we had a lot, one second. I think that we did have a lot of miscommunication on, the TikTok live, but I think that maybe now we can clear things up and move on with a productive conversation. And I am disagreeing with your argument in the sense that I reject premise 9 because of the plausibility of evil.
So you're rejecting premise 9. That premise 9 entails that resurrection happens. You're conceding that.
Wait, if I reject the premise of your argument, then I would not be conceding the conclusion.
Well, do you read out the premises again? So you're rejecting premise.
Not really, because I want to continue to talk about the
No. So you rejected premise 9. Premise 8 is therefore Jesus was resurrected.
Wait, sorry, repeat that. I just saw that.
Yeah. Premise 9 is if Jesus was resurrected, then God probably exists. You're conceding that. Premise 8 is therefore Jesus was resurrected. You concede that.
Oh, yeah, so we're granting resurrection. I still just don't think that the Christian God exists for my reasons with probable evil.
So you're conceding that the resurrection happened.
Oh, we're just granting it for the argument.
No, I mean, do you think it actually happened?
Do I? No, but you don't need to go back.
I presented an argument for why you should think.
Yeah. So I'll explain to you how this works. So when we're talking about the existence of the Christian God, I can grant resurrection, but still reject the conclusion that the Christian God exists because I'd find it to be improbable or even impossible.
Sure, yeah.
Probable evil. So
yeah, I agree with that. I'm just trying to get down to whether you agree with if you're conceding that Jesus rose.
Yeah.
So they're debating Christianity. Yo. 1 second.